going on, guys? This is Brandon from USF1 doing a roundup of the Bahrain Grand Prix. And man, that was a freaking race till the very end of it. It was great to see, Vettel getting a great start, splitting both Mercedes right at the start before turn one, causing a lot of chaos in their complete race strategy. We also saw a couple disappointments. There was a lot of DNFs. Well, actually, let's talk about that now. Stoffel Van Dorn having a did not start, having to change out his engine after qualifying. Definitely, I guess I don't know who to blame, whether it's McLaren's engine or his engineer team, because that new engine still was not either installed properly or just not up to par, because he ended up not even starting the Grand Prix. Kevin Madison ended up having a turbo problem, so he was out very early in the race. Verstappen, after his first pit stop, ended up losing control of his car on cold tires and ended up hitting the wall, and then ended up not finishing. Stroll and Sainz ended up having an incident into turn one, where Sainz was coming out of the pits and he took a sort of a wide line into turn one, and it looked like he was going to give him space, but then that space sort of closed up. Granted, Carlos Sainz was charging. He was like 60 meters or something behind him going into turn one. He thought he could make it, but, accidents happen and he hit right into him. Marcus Ericsson ended up a problem near the, like the middle of the race, and he ended up just shutting it down. Unfortunate for Marcus. And Fernando Alonso, unfortunately, he made it all the way to lap 56, like 55, and he had to shut down the engine with only 2 laps to go. Very disappointing day for McLaren in general. A lot of those guys, I'm sure they'll be looking for Russia to be, put a stamp on the season. And I'm sure that, with mid-season testing coming next week here in Bahrain, starting in 2 days, people will be looking for a lot of different things to focus on. But yeah, back to the race, guys. That is insane drive from everyone. Unfortunate days for Palmer, Kvyat, Wehrlein, just outside the points. Palmer seemed to, he's qualified P10, and he just completely dropped down, especially being so far behind Nico Hulkenberg. Daniel Kvyat, had pretty solid qualifying, but his car pace just seemed to slow down throughout the race, and him and Palmer were having pretty close battles the entire race, and it was quite interesting to see the midfield battle it out all weekend. Pascal Wehrlein, his first complete race in the Sauber, and he ended up not doing too bad. He come in P11, which is great to see, but I'm sure I would rather have seen him race all 3 races, but at least getting a result just outside the points, unfortunate, but good to see a P11 result and being so much better than Marcus Ericsson throughout the entire weekend. Not just today, but the entire weekend. But yeah, now let's go for the race leaders. Vettel, congratulations to Ferrari and Sebastian Vettel himself for coming out with a race win at Bahrain. They were hoping to take the fight to Mercedes, and they did. If Hamilton didn't get that 5-second penalty, who knows how the race outcome would have been, because it was, only 6.6 seconds separated Vettel and Hamilton at the very end of the race. I know a couple of Hamilton fans will say that he didn't need a penalty. Well, you did. I'm sorry, you guys did. There's a rule saying you cannot hold up cars going into the pit lane. Granted, Bottas was in the pit box first. He got held up. I don't know how, but he got held up, and he was sort of held up in his pit. And then so Hamilton was coming in because they're going to stack them. He didn't want to stack him for too long, so Hamilton slowed down to give his pit crew some time. And in the process, he cut off Daniel Ricciardo, slowed him way up, getting into the pit lane, because Hamilton was going at a very dangerous speed because he was going very slow, cut off Ricciardo. So overall, you're lucky it was only 5 seconds. It wasn't a 10-second penalty, 10-second time penalty. It was only a 5-second stop and go. So Hamilton got kind of lucky. It was only that, but yeah, without the penalty, who knows how the race outcome would have been. Bottas coming third. He held off Vettel for as long as he could. I actually thought when Vettel got the early pit stop that was going to end up seeing Australia all over again, only the other way around, like Mercedes going out a couple more times and Vettel being passed up. But overall, that is not happening. Kimi Räikkönen coming P4. He probably would have came P5 if Verstappen stayed in the race. But it was solid drive from Räikkönen. He ended up having to did a couple overtakes, but he seemed to be sort of like non-existent in the race the entire time. Same thing with Daniel Ricciardo, except from the very beginning, he was battling out with his own teammate and Kimi Räikkönen in the start of the Grand Prix, but overall, once everyone got spaced out, they sort of disappeared. Felipe Massa, same thing. He had a very solid showing with a P6. Great for Williams. I'm sure to see their old retiree get into the points, but I'm sure they want a double points finish, wanting Stroll to finish a race. This is his third Grand Prix, and he still hasn't finished one. So, do you really think that Williams should start causing concern? Let me know in the comments below what Williams should need to do. Unfortunately, I know it wasn't necessarily Stroll's fault, but maybe a little bit more consideration, knowing Sainz's situation and all that. But yeah, unfortunate for Williams, but good job, good drive for Massa, taking that car to P6. Sergio Perez having probably my driver of the day, having started P18 after a horrible qualifying session and finishing P7, 3 spots ahead of his teammate Esteban Ocon, which is great for Force India in general to have a double points finish. Granted, it's not the maximum points, but still a double points finish on a track that they have that they feel very strong, very competitive about. So great job for Perez coming from P18 to P7, and fantastic drive for him all around. Romain Grosjean for my Haas team, as you can see, coming P8. I'm sure he would want a better placing, but from where we qualified and where we finished, it is very great to at least get in front of both Renaults and both Toro Rossos. Granted, Sainz didn't finish the race, but at least we get the points for it, and we end up beating one Force India. We just hope that we could beat both Force Indias next in Russia, because we were only what were we? We were only 12 seconds behind Perez. So if we just do a couple more reliability checks and do a couple more upgrades, we may be able to catch both Force Indias by the end of the year. Hülkenberg taking that Renault car a lot faster around the track than a lot of others, coming P9. He was only 1 minute 20 seconds off the pace from those top teams, but that's another video. But he ended up making Palmer look very, very slow, considering that Palmer took P13. But great drive from Hülkenberg all around. And Esteban Ocon getting into the points again, P10. He's looking great for Force India. He just needs to find a little bit more pace to match Perez. And if he does, they may be a 1-2 combo to deal with in the midfield, and we may not be able to catch them. Haas or Renault or Toro Rosso may not be able to catch them throughout the season. It just all depends on their upgrades and how they will be able to handle their upgrade strategy throughout the year. But great job for Ocon, and putting that car on the points and putting Force India itself in a double points finish. It's always great to see. But yeah, guys, who your guys' driver of the day? As you already know, mine is Sergio Perez. This is coming from a Haas fan. It's unfortunate for us, though. But yeah, who do you guys think is the most disappointing day? My day would probably have to be, my vote would actually have to be Stroll. Of course, him and Sainz has more of the blame for the accident, but overall, I think it was a double fault on both of them, because Stroll didn't necessarily give him much room for him to get past. But regardless, the most disappointing day for me, vote would go to Lance Stroll. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for today. We're looking forward. I'm going to see if I can do a video on testing in Bahrain. Hopefully they show me some footage. But until then, guys, this is Brandon from USF1. Peace.